Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at the super action statue of Jolyne Cujoh from Jojo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6, Stone Ocean. So since the anime just dropped, I thought probably good idea to jump on the hype train and just, capitalize on that and do a review of the main character. So I've got her here posed up with Stone Free. I'm not going to be reviewing Stone Free here, but if you're interested in that, you can let me know. I'll probably get around to doing that. I don't know, eventually maybe. But yeah, if you see my top 10 video and we're not counting the Wonderfest Joseph, if we're just looking at the main first colorways of the main JoJo's, I think she's the best of all of them. And that's overall, in terms of articulation and in overall look, the Part 6 figures really do have the best overall execution, I'd say, in paintwork and articulation. So yeah, let's jump in and have a look at her. So I'll probably just move Stone Free to the corner. She can just chill over there whilst we talk about Jolyne. I know some of you say Jolyne. I say Jolyne because that's how it's written. I know that's probably wrong, but whatever. You can correct me if you want. I probably won't do anything about it. But yeah, so taking a look at her overall, I'll get her straight up. I think, as I said just before, she is a really good figure. You can see the amount of detail that's in her face in terms of shading. Just the application of the lipstick is really clean. There's no smudging or sort of going over the edges. And it's the same for her default head, which is the one that comes straight out of the box. And I really like that both of the heads are not, neither of them are the yelling head. So the alternate one is kind of just a different expression. I've said in one of my other videos that I like when they don't give us just yelling heads as the second ones, because most of the time they just look bored. But, I kind of like this. It's a different expression to the main one. And they're both just as good as each other. I switch these up from time to time. Whereas for the other figures, I'll just usually leave the neutral one on. Looking at the rest of her, though, you can see how clean the paint is overall. On the thighs, you can see there's really nice shading there, and the line work in between here is really good. This is actually molded in as well, so where those white parts are is actual part of the sculpt there. It's not just white paint on top, so that's really good. Same with her cape skirt thing. I don't really know what that's called, but the shading and paint is really nice on that. If we look at the side, I do have a bit of paint rubbing here. I'm not too bothered about that. You can kind of pose it away or hide it with your poses. Her kind of square things here, I don't know what these are, but again, they're just nicely done. And yeah, she's got her chest piece here, which kind of matches her tattoo. The paint here is just really clean as well. So in terms of just aesthetics, she is probably 10 out of 10 for me. That paint rubbing thing is something that I can look past. It's not a feature or a defect. It's just, well, it is a defect, but it's an unintentional one rather than something that's actually wrong with the figure. So yeah, really, really great figure. And she is re-releasing. I think she's coming out this month. So if she's still, if you can still get her, definitely order her, because especially with the anime, she is going to shoot up in price. So I will put her back with Stone Free, and we'll just take a look at her accessories. So for her accessories, you can see already that I have one on there for her hand. That's one of her string effects. She comes with a few different types of those. Before we get into those, we'll just see the standard fists. These come out of the box with her. They've got her nail varnish on there, which is pretty nice. She does have two hands which are the same. And these are kind of open palm hands. So I have the other open palm hand on her there. You can see that. But these are the same sort of sculpt. I think they're the same sculpt, maybe slightly different. But this one has the sort of unraveling string effect, whereas this one doesn't. And the cool thing about these is that you can put one of the string effects on, and you can put that onto her finger, and then you've kind of got her firing her string out like that. So there are three in total, two other string effects. This one here is for another hand of hers, which is the two fingers there. So that's kind of dangling down, whereas this one is shooting out. And then this one here, which pegs onto her wrist, and then you have her kind of shooting her string out. So this is a cool effect piece. I like that it's, an accessory it's kind of like a hand accessory and an effect piece at the same time. And I think it's pretty well done. You can have her posing dynamically with this and it will look pretty cool. I have missed out a few hands, so let me get into those as well. just one actually. It's another kind of posing hand which you can put this attachment onto. Yeah, so she does come with a pretty good batch of accessories. I do like this hand here, which I'd had on her originally, because you've got her sort of firing the string from all pretty much all of her fingers. I would have liked if they had the string grey. If you look at Stone Free, this kind of silverish color. That's how it looks in both the colored manga and the anime. So I think that would have been just a better decision. But you can easily paint these, and it's one of the least risky paint jobs you'll do on a figure. So that's pretty much an easy fix. On the Wonderfest edition, those are bright green. I don't really like that. It's kind of weird, but it's also one of those, weird decisions that it's so out there that it kind of works, but you're either a fan of it or you're not. So yeah, that's the accessories. We will now jump into the articulation. Let's get her back off there. Put Stone Free there to chill again. We can keep this on for the articulation. Okay, so for her articulation, as I've said in this video already, it's really good for her. We'll just start at the head. So side to side, there is a ball peg in there. So you get a little bit of swivel side to side. But looking up, fair amount of range. I am using the neck a little bit there. Looking down though, even if I don't use the neck, she already has a pretty decent amount of range. If I do use the neck, she can look all the way down. So really good range in the neck and the head. Shoulders, she has just a single ball joint, in the shoulder, but you still get really good range there. Straight up into a T pose. Going up, you can bring that really close to her head, so that's really good. And since it's a peg, you get swivel there, and you get swivel at the elbow as well. You do want to be careful. This can pop out pretty easily, but if it does that, just put it straight back. But yeah, elbow, that goes way more than 90. If you remove the elbow cap, it actually goes even further if you need that range, but you probably don't. And then again, at the wrist, really good range there. This is just standard ball joints with a peg on the end for the hand. For the diaphragm, it will go back quite nicely. Going forward is a little bit limited, but as you can see, she's almost a bit hunched over there, so you don't really need more range than that, so that's really good. At the hips, that will rotate side to side, though it is a little bit stiff because of, kind of the shape of her body, but still pretty good range. And, that will bend backwards pretty well. Forwards, pretty good range there as well. Legs, so you get bicep swivel both here at this joint and this part here, but mine is a little bit stiff, so I'm not going to push it too much. Double jointed knees as usual, just going back to the hips because I missed this. Or top of the legs, you can bring it forward about this much, so pretty good range there. If you give it a twist as well, even further, you can bring her into pretty much the full splits easily. And then lastly, you do get swivel here because that's just a peg in there. And then lastly, the ankles, so points down about that much, pretty good. Range going up's not that great just because, the way that the cuff is here will limit it a bit, but still plenty. And then you can get sort of side to side if you twist the ball peg around. Lastly, just a standard toe joint, which is, as usual with these super action statues, either very loose or very stiff. We've got one of each on here. So yeah, very good articulation overall. That's why she is one of the best figures of all the JoJo ones, the main JoJos at least. I definitely recommend picking her up. Last thing we're going to do now, though, is jump into some size comparisons. So I'll just repose her, get her stood in the middle, and we'll look at that. Okay, so for the height comparison, the first person I will compare her to, or first figure I should say, is her great whatever grandfather, Jonathan Joestar. So he is, I think, probably the tallest of the main JoJos. Joseph might be about the same height, but you can see he is pretty big compared to her. You can pose these together well, though. I think the scale, usually between parts, the scale isn't that great, but I think this works. I think this would probably be, he might be a bit taller than her in the proper scale, but I think this still works. I do have a floating the tiniest bit, so yeah, this does work pretty well. For an SHF comparison, I have Kamen Rider Gran Zio. Let's just stand him there. you know, this is just for your reference. So you can see this guy's about the same height as an average SHF that you'd get for Iron Man or something like that. And the last one I have is Lightning Collection Pink Space Ranger. So again, you know, this is just for your reference. I don't have any Marvel Legends, but if you do collect Marvel Legends, she's about the same height as a female Marvel Legend. So this is how she would be sort of in comparison to one of those. So that's all for today's video. If you want to see Stone Free reviewed, let me know. Otherwise, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.